We're now in our third lockdown, and this has all gone on for so much longer than any of us could have expected. And as parents and as adults, there's just so much on our plates, or in our stress buckets, as I sometimes call it. We're having to homeschool, we're having to work from home, we're isolated, we miss our families, friends, and our communities. And so many of us have experienced bereavement or anxieties about the health of those that we really love. So it's really been a tough time. And at times like this, it's just so much more difficult to find it within ourselves to continue providing that love and that support for others. It's not easy, but I'm going to share a few tips that I've come across to help make it maybe a little bit more manageable. Children these days are really feeling the corona anxiety, and the little things we do make so much of a difference to them. Making sure that their day-to-day routines remain consistent, that they're still having time in the day to be active and to have fun and to do the little things that really matter to them. Making sure that we always speak to our children. You know, children rarely speak about their emotions. They feel them, and lots of them feel them in their bodies as headaches or as tummy pain or as difficulty sleeping. And as parents, if we can have that space for them to talk, you know, just having that time every day where it's okay to sit together and to just talk about anything that's on your mind. And the more and more we lay the foundation for those times of just being together and holding that space, the more our children will open up and talk to us about what's actually on their minds. They may have heard myths about COVID in the news, or they may be worried. Not usually for themselves, more usually for others, and worry about the adults in their lives. And it's so important to have that time to talk and connect and find out what's on their mind and reassure them where possible. There's so much going on now that is not in our control, you know? We can't control the infection rates. We can't control the hospitalization figures. We can't control when we're going to get vaccinated. And so sometimes it's just about taking a really deep breath or a minute to think about what we can control, what's in our circle of control, and really just focusing on that. They may be really small things, you know. They may be things like switching off the news when it starts to make us too anxious, or reminding ourselves about our own hands, face, and mask. Whatever it is, as long as we know that there are those few things that we can control and we focus our energies there, rather than worrying about what we can't have any influence on, that can also really help us to calm down. Taking a bit of time to do anything that's fun throughout the day as a family, it's really hard, and I found it really hard, to balance that role of being a homeschooler and a teacher and also a loving mother and, you know, someone who wants to be nurturing. And so just having that time to have the nurturing, loving bit as well during the day. You know, when schooling is over, just going back into parent mode and having a little bit of fun, no matter what it is. Even if it's 10 minutes a day, as long as it's consistent, it'll have such an important and positive effect on your children. Especially if you do it a special time, which is where you take children individually and really give them some focused, intense attention, doing whatever it is that they may want to do. For a few minutes every day, children always really love that and seem to respond to it really, really well. So no matter what it is, just making sure that we have a bit of time to be fun as well and to have fun together as a family. And finally, and most importantly, remembering that you can only ever pour from a cup that it's full itself. It may be a little bit of a cliche, and we may have heard it 100 times before, but it's so important to put your oxygen mask on before you put on the masks of others, and to look after yourselves. Because if you're tired and if you're depleted and if you're anxious and exhausted, then there's no way you're going to be able to give all the energy and love that you need to give and that you usually give every single day. So really thinking about what it is that energizes you. You know, for some people that might be a little bit of, you know, exercise. For some people it might be talking to their family on the phone or their friends. For some it might be just going for a walk alone or having an evening off or going to bed early. Whatever it is that gives you that little bit more energy in your bank, hold on to it and do it as often as you can. And it's not selfish, it's the most selfless act, because you're re-energizing yourself so that you can give more to others. So it's been a tough time, it's been a tough year, and anxieties are high across the population. As a GP, I would say that anxiety is probably the most common presentation that's coming through our doors or on our phones these days. And it's normal to feel anxious. After all, we're living through a global pandemic, and most of us will have never lived through anything like this before. But it's just important to know that if that anxiety continues, or if that low mood continues, if you've tried a few things yourself and it hasn't helped, please do reach out for help. There's so much out there. There are the NHS talking therapies, which you can access by searching NHS Talk online. There's your GP, who is still open and still available to talk to you. And there are lots of sources of charitable support as well. Just make sure you reach out. It's a marathon. COVID has been a marathon. And inshallah, we're on our last legs. The vaccines are here, and our turns will all be around the corner, inshallah. And hopefully life will be returning to normal as soon as possible. But until then, just look after yourselves, look after your families, and inshallah we'll all get through this in one piece, and we will all be reunited as a community very soon. Thank you.